Namaskar, good afternoon. Welcome to this monthly press conference. Today we will be presenting the weather summary for the month of April and the forecast for the month of May. I'll request you to please bear with me for 1 minute. I will just share the PPT. I extend a warm welcome to all our friends and colleagues from press and electronic media, and my dear friends from Ministry of Earth Sciences, India Meteorological Department, and ladies and gentlemen. As all of us know that during these past 2 months, March and April, we have experienced the temperature quite significantly higher than normal temperature in certain parts of the country. The March has been the highest recorded temperature for the country as a whole. Now let us see what has happened in the month of April. Whether my slide is visible, Dr. Srijit?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is moving, no?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, fine.
It is moving, sir.
Fine. So this is the temperature. On the top, you can find out the temperature, maximum temperature, the minimum temperature, and the mean temperature. The mean temperature is calculated by taking the average of maximum temperature and mean temperature. And if we just look at the bottom row, we have got the maximum temperature anomaly, minimum temperature anomaly, and the mean temperature anomaly. The anomaly is calculated from the long period average, that is the temperature actual, whatever we find, minus the normal temperature of that particular area. That gives the anomaly or departure, you can say. So if we just look at the maximum temperature anomaly, what you find that temperature was above normal over the major part of northwest India and the central India, especially over Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, and northern parts of Rajasthan and adjoining areas of northwest MP, where temperature was quite higher, say for example, more than 4 degrees Celsius above the normal. The entire central part, starting with southern parts of Rajasthan, up to say Chhattisgarh, we can find out across Madhya Pradesh, northern parts of Madhya Pradesh, the temperature was 3 to 4 degrees Celsius above normal. But if I just look at the northeastern states and the southern peninsula, their temperature has been slightly below normal, say 1 to 2 degrees Celsius below normal. Now, if you look at the minimum temperature on the middle diagram anomaly, you will find that the minimum temperature also has been significantly higher, but relatively less as compared to maximum temperature. You can find out it was 1 to 3 degrees Celsius above normal over the major parts of northwest India and central India. So I just want to conclude that from this slide that maximum temperature was significantly higher as compared to minimum temperature, and hence the daytime, the hot day conditions and heat wave conditions, severe heat wave conditions were more realized. Considering the mean temperature also, you will find that the northwest India, where you have got the higher maximum temperature and also higher minimum temperature during the month, you have got the mean temperature higher. It was 1 to 3 degrees Celsius above normal. And northeast India and south peninsula has slightly below normal temperatures. Now, if you just look at some of the average values for different homogeneous regions in India as a whole, this data is up to 28th of April. On basis of this data, which will be updated by end of this month, that tomorrow you will have the updated data. And today, what we find that all India, it was the rank wise the fourth, if you consider data from 1901 onwards. Until 28 April, the temperature in the month of April has been 35.05 degrees Celsius, which is the fourth highest in last 122 years. The average maximum temperature over northwest India and you can say central India in April 2022, if we just find their rank is 1. That means in 122 years, the temperature of northwest India and central India has been the highest. And the average value for the country is 35.9 degrees Celsius for northwest India and 37.78 degrees Celsius for central India. East and central India, if you just look at it, was not so high. The rank was 81, and southern peninsula it was 37. It is mainly because if you just look at the, I'll discuss afterwards also. East and northeast India and south peninsula has got very good rainfall activity, excess rainfall activity in the month of April, which did not allow the temperature to rise. On the other hand, there is scanty rainfall over central India and northwest India. So this is a comparison with the past data. As I was telling, 2022 is the 4th highest considering the temperature of April. And if you compare all the years, you will find that 2010 was the rank number 1 when temperature was 35.42 degrees Celsius for the month of April. It was followed by 2016, then 1973, then 1980. So what you find that recent years you've got 3 extremes, that is 1, 2, and 4 rank, that is 2010, 16, and 2022. Now, if I consider northwest India, it was 2022 where it is the highest, that is 35.9, and it is followed by 2010, then 1999, 1980, then 2007. Then if you consider central India, then what you find actually that the maximum temperature in 2022 is 37.78 and against normal of 36.29, rank is 1. And it is followed by 1973, 2010, 2016, 2017. So what you find in recent years, you can find that the number of rank holders are high. And that also we tell that if you consider the highest 10 years for the country as a whole, you will find that in recent decades, all these are occur. And 2016 has been the warmest year for India. Okay, now if I look at the heat waves of 2022, yes, this data shows that for the month of March and the month of April, as all of us know that month of March, central India especially, and also parts of northwest India experienced heat wave conditions. And this gives number of cases in March and number of cases in April. Considering subdivision wise, total number of subdivisions is 36. Out of that, if you consider, then what you find actually that for the month of March this year, it was the highest, that is heat wave and severe heat wave total together. At least the condition is that you have considered at least one metro subdivision and reporting one date taken as 1. And so by that way, the statistics is prepared. So what you find that March was the highest, but in the April, it is not highest. 2010 was the highest number of heat wave or severe heat wave days. And it was mainly because of the eastern parts of the country in 2010 experienced such high number. Whereas in the month of April this year, it is the northwest India and west central India which experienced the more number of days. Now, if you just look at number of deaths on the other side, you will find that this is a period 1971 to 2020, and you will find that the number of deaths was maximum in 2015, and thereafter, because of the various initiatives by Government of India, Minister of Earth Sciences, India Meteorological Department, we went on a seamless prediction system from seasonal forecast, followed by external forecast, then followed by short to medium forecast, then of course very short range forecasts which were being issued now, and heat action plan implemented by the states and the center, it has resulted in reduction in number of loss of lives. And 2021, if you just look at it, is just around 4 deaths, which is not reported here. So if you look at the climate vulnerability atlas of heat waves for the month of April, this is 1969 to 2019 data. You can visit, it is open access. You can find out from IMD website. What you find actually, the severe heat wave caused casualty days, if you just look at the left hand side, what you find that normally these eastern parts of the country, that is Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, and then areas, and the west central parts of the country are most prone for deaths due to the severe heat wave conditions. On the right hand side also, this is the normalized vulnerability index. Which area is more vulnerable? You can find out that Yes, these are the red part is the most vulnerable, and followed by the yellow part, and then the green part. Now, if I just look at the rainfall, what has happened during this period, that is pre-monsoon season, that is 31st March for the month of March, and also for the month of April. What I find actually in the month of April, country as a whole, it has been just around the normal. That is up to 28th April was 1%, and now it is perhaps nearby 0 or -1. But the most important point is that if I consider homogeneous regions like Northwest India, East Northeast India, Central India, South Peninsular India, I find that East and Northeast India was 40% excess. Central South India, South Peninsula was 38.5% excess. So there is an excess rainfall activity over this area, leading to the subdued temperature also. But towards Northwest India, if you just look at it, it has been almost 84% deficient rainfall. Central India, it is about 54% deficient rainfall. And this deficiency is not limited to month of April only. But if you look at month of March, there also these two areas, Northwest India and Central India, they were deficient. And it was 89% for Northwest India and 87% for Central India. So continuously, there has been scanty rainfall activity over Northwest India and Central India for March and April. And that is reflected if you consider the cumulative rainfall from 1 March to 28 April. Northwest India is -87%, Central India is -70%. But on the other hand, though it was highly deficient in the month of March, the East and Northeast India, it was -55.5% deficient in the month of March, but it became positive and excess in the month of April. As a result, the seasonal rainfall is also excess and temperature is also less than the normal. Similarly, if you consider the South Peninsular India, it was 14% deficient in the month of March, but it became 40% excess in the month of April. As a result, it's now the excess 22%. Now, if I consider the heavy rainfall, what has happened in the month of April, what I find that this year we have got very good amount of heavy rainfall activity, especially in the Southern Peninsula and the Northeastern India. These are the two regions I just want to mention here. These are two regions climatologically, Northeast India and South Peninsula, especially Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Puducherry, this area and southern parts of Karnataka, they get heavy rainfall in the month of March and April, especially in the month of April. So if you consider this, you will find that in the last 5 years, the number of heavy rainfall days has been 131. That's for events. It is the number of events considering subdivision wise. And very heavy rainfall events has been 31, and extremely heavy rainfall events has been 8. If you compare the previous 5 years, we find that this year the frequency has been quite high, leading to the excess rainfall activity in both regions. If you just look at the cause, what has led to this type of activity, you will find that two cyclonic circulations developed over southwest Bay of Bengal and adjoining Southeast Arabian Sea, and it moved across the peninsular India, and as a result, it caused very good rainfall activity leading to thunderstorming. And also, on many days, there were the north-south oriented trough. That trough is the line of low pressure. Or otherwise, there was a wind discontinuity. That means easterly wind and westerly wind just meet like this. This is called as wind discontinuity. When these two different winds meet with each other, two opposite winds meet with each other, we call wind discontinuity. And this meeting of two opposite winds lead to convergence of wind and hence upward motion, and hence the thunderstorm activity. So that happened in the South Peninsular India. Therefore, we got very good rainfall activity. So over Northeast India, if you just look at most of the times, you will find that because of the Bay of Bengal anticyclone circulation, there was pumping of moisture towards the Northeast India, especially in the Assam, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, and these areas, and southern West Bengal and Sikkim. So it was mainly because of the passage of westerly trough, roughly lying near about 90 degrees at a height of say about 3 kilometers, and this caused the higher rainfall activity over this area. But if you consider the Northwest India and Central India, there was no such significant weather systems. Yes, we had 6 number of western disturbances in different parts of the year. You can say almost 1 or 2 in a week. But all these western disturbances were stable and dry, except one, which moved and caused some rainfall activity in hailstorms also and dust storms. during last week over the northwest India. Otherwise, all others were very feeble, and they moved to the north of the Himalayan regions, and hence we could not get such activity. Now let us come to verification of the forecast which was issued in the month for the month of April. So it was issued on 31st March. On the left-hand side, it is the observed rainfall category for the month of April. On the right-hand side, this was the forecast category. And here I just to mention that in both the diagrams, the yellow or orange color indicates the below normal rainfall, and blue and green blue indicates above normal rainfall, green indicates normal rainfall activity. So what you find if I compare these two diagrams, I would say that it was very reasonable forecast. Major part of northwest India, central India was predicted to have the below normal rainfall probability. And you can find out from this diagram that major part of northwest India and central India had the below normal rainfall, observed rainfall is below normal. Similarly, we predicted that southern peninsula will have blue color, that means the excess rainfall activity. And you can also find here the blue color and the green color for the south peninsula regions. Even up to Gujarat, it was predicted, it occurred also up to Gujarat, you can find out that. So that indicates that this multimodal NC forecast scheme has worked very well, except for northeastern states. If I just look at here, over southern West Bengal, Sikkim, and adjoining Bihar, we predicted that it will be excess rainfall activity. Over against West Bengal, we predicted normal rainfall activity. But southern West Bengal, Sikkim has come up excess rainfall, but this area has come up as below normal rainfall activity. Similarly, here Assam, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, major part we predicted that it will be below normal rainfall, but actually it has happened the above normal rainfall activity. So, except these few areas in northeastern states, the forecast has come up well for the month of April. Now let us take the observed temperature. So this was the temperature forecast. Right hand side is the temperature forecast. The red and orange colors indicate that it will be above normal temperature, and hence the more frequent heat wave and severe heat wave conditions. And the blue and green color indicates normal and below normal probability of temperature. Now let us see, this is a maximum temperature, and let us see what happened actually. So if you just look at entire northwest and central India was above normal maximum temperature and as per the forecast. South Peninsula was below normal temperature as per the forecast. But northeastern states, if you just look at the forecast for this area, that is Arunachal Pradesh and Northeast Assam, was below normal temperature, was above normal temperature, but it has become the below normal temperature. So I would say that like rainfall, the northeastern states also was not in agreement with the forecast. Otherwise, major part of the country was in agreement with the forecast. Now let us see the minimum temperature. The minimum temperature also predicted that it will be above normal over major parts of northwest and central India. And if you just look at it, has happened so. And peninsular India, we experienced that we expected that it will be below normal or normal temperature. It has happened like that. But again, the same case over northeastern states, we told major parts will have the above normal temperatures, but still eastern parts of Arunachal Pradesh, Northeast Assam, it was below normal temperature. But I'd say that it has quite accurately captured the forecast as far as minimum temperature is concerned. Now let us see what is the forecast for May 2022. So this is the left hand side is the maximum temperature and right hand side is the minimum temperature. I will discuss one by one. This is the maximum temperature forecast distribution over the country as a whole. What do you find here? These yellow, orange, and red colors are the above normal probability. Green is the normal probability, and the blue is the below normal probability. So what does it indicate actually? It is indicating that northwest India, most parts of northwest India and adjoining west central India, there is probability that temperature will be above normal. That means Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, and Rajasthan and Gujarat, and some adjoining areas of West MP will have the probability of higher than normal temperature. Similarly, some areas over northern states will have below so higher than normal temperature probability. But as we have seen for the last 2 months also, northeastern states temperature is not being captured well by the models, but remaining parts of the country, it shows that there will be normal to below normal probability of the temperature, maximum temperature. So it is a good news. Bad news, I don't know, but the forecast says that there will be a reduction in temperature compared to the normal in the month of May over East Central India, Gangetic Plains, along the foothills of the Himalayas, starting with UP up to Bihar, and South Peninsula and adjoining Central India. So all these areas will have normal to below normal probability. Now, Northwest India will continue to have higher than normal probability. So what are the repercussions? I will say the repercussions. That means the Northwest India, which has experienced higher normal temperatures in the month of March and April, will continue to experience higher than normal temperature in the month of May. So as a result, there can be again the heat wave conditions, to severe heat wave conditions in the month of May, especially in Gujarat and Rajasthan, where you have got high probability of this red color. Of course, some isolated reports maybe in Jammu and adjoining areas. On the other hand, the frequency of heat waves and severe heat waves, which has been experienced in East Central India, Gangetic Plains, and eastern parts of the country, that is expected to reduce in the month of May as the mean maximum temperature is expected to be less than the normal. At the same time, over the southern peninsular area, we are expecting below normal temperature. That is possible only if there is again thunderstorm activity. So it suggests that thunderstorm activity will continue in the month of May, and hence the temperature will be below normal. But in northeastern states, there will be normal activity of thunderstorms. And accordingly, there is a normal arrangement of the temperatures forecast. Now, if I just look at the minimum temperature, what I find that again in the northwest India, starting with Gujarat, Rajasthan, etc., there minimum temperature will be above normal. That means warm night conditions also can be expected again in the month of May in the states like Gujarat, Rajasthan, and adjoining areas of northwest India. But also the above normal temperature will continue in the remaining parts of the country here, including northeastern states, East Central India, Gangetic Plains, and foothills of Himalayas. So what does it indicate actually? The minimum temperature increases because of two reasons. Sometimes because of the increase in temperature, and also because of sometimes the cloudiness. So as we are expecting here the below normal temperature and hence rainfall activity, etc. So it may be because of the increase in cloudiness. That minimum temperature will be above normal. Okay. But over the southern peninsular region, it indicates that to normal to below normal minimum temperatures. So I will just summarize the forecast, seasonal forecast, monthly forecast for month of May. Above normal maximum temperatures are likely over most parts of West Central and Northwest India and northern parts of Northeast India. Normal to below normal maximum temperatures are likely over remaining parts of the country. As far as minimum temperature is concerned, above normal minimum temperatures are likely over most parts of Northwest, Central, East, and Northeast India. Normal to below normal minimum temperatures are likely over South Peninsular India and a few pockets of extreme Northwest India. The rainfall averaged over the country as a whole during May 2022 is most likely to be above normal, that is 109% of the long period average, and LPA over the country as a whole for the month of May, based on data of 1971 to 2020, is about 61.4 millimeters. So normal to above normal rainfall is likely over most parts of India, except some parts of Northwest and Northeast India, as well as extreme South Peninsula, where it is likely to be below normal. Yeah, I think I just skipped this slide. So this is the rainfall forecast for the month of May 2022. This figure indicates that we will have almost the probability of normal to above normal rainfall activity for major parts of the country in the month of May, except the northwest India, like say some parts of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, and some parts of Himachal Pradesh. And here also some parts of northeastern states and some parts of peninsular India. So in general, for the month of May, the rainfall is expected to be above normal for the country as a whole, and especially over central part of country and Gangetic Plains, peninsular India, northern peninsular India. The normal for the month of May is 61.4 mm. I just want to bring to your attention that white patches in the diagram indicates that climatological probability. That means there is no preference of any kind of probability like below normal, normal, or above normal. And the dotted, you can find out the dotted areas here, especially in this area. Dotted areas indicate that here climatologically this area does not get much rainfall activity in the month of May. That means central part of the country starting with Gujarat, all this area, they do not get much rainfall during the month of May. Okay, now I'll come to the sea surface temperature conditions. Currently, the La Nina conditions are prevailing over equatorial Pacific region. Our monsoon mission climate forecast system forecast indicates that the La Nina conditions are likely to continue throughout the forecast period. Other climate models also suggest that La Nina conditions will continue in the upcoming season. Indian Ocean dipole also a climate player. Currently, neutral Indian Ocean dipole conditions prevail over Indian Ocean, and monsoon mission climate forecast system suggests that Indian Ocean dipole conditions likely to develop towards beginning of the monsoon season. मैं अभी आपको सारांश को थोड़ा हिंदी में बताऊंगा। मई के दौरान सामान्य से अधिक तापमान पश्चिम मध्य और उत्तर पश्चिम भारत के अधिकांश हिस्सों और उत्तर पूर्व भारत के उत्तर भागों में होने का संभावना है। देश के बाकी हिस्सों में सामान्य से कम अधिकतम तापमान रहने की संभावना है। मई के दौरान उत्तर पश्चिम, मध्य पूर्व एवं और उत्तर पूर्व भारत के अधिकांश हिस्सों में सामान्य से अधिक न्यूनतम तापमान रहने की संभावना है। दक्षिण प्रायद्वीप भारत और अत्यधिक उत्तर पश्चिम भारत के कुछ हिस्सों में सामान्य से कम न्यूनतम तापमान रहने की संभावना है। वर्षा की बात करें, मई 2022 में देश भर में औसत बारिश सामान्य से अधिक एलपीए का ग्रेटर देन 109% होने का संभावना है। भारत के अधिकांश हिस्सों में सामान्य से लेकर सामान्य से अधिक बारिश होने का संभावना है, लेकिन उत्तर पश्चिम भारत के कुछ हिस्सों और पूर्वोत्तर भारत के कुछ हिस्सों के साथ साथ सुदूर पूर्व दक्षिण प्रायद्वीप में सामान्य से नीचे बारिश होने का संभावना है। सी सरफेस टेम्परेचर की बात करें, वर्तमान में भूमध्य रेखीय प्रशांत क्षेत्र में ला नीना की स्थिति प्रचलित है। नवीनतम MMCFS पूर्वानुमान इंगित करता है कि ला नीना की स्थिति मई 2022 में जारी रहने की संभावना है और आने वाले मानसून सीजन में भी ला नीना की स्थिति का संभावना है। अन्य जलवायु मॉडल भी आगामी सीजन के दौरान ला नीना स्थितियों के लिए बढ़ी हुई संभावना का संकेत दे रही है। प्रशांत महासागर क्षेत्र पर एलिनो दक्षिण दोलन एलिनो सदर्न ऑसिलेशंस की स्थिति के अलावा हिंद महासागर एसएसटी जैसे अन्य कारक भी भारत जलवायु का प्रभावित करता है। वर्तमान में हिंद महासागर के ऊपर तटस्थ हिंद महासागर द्वीपजीवीय आईओडी इंडियन ओशन डाइपोल स्थितियां मौजूद है, यानी न्यूट्रल इंडियन ओशन डाइपोल स्थिति मौजूद है। और नवीनतम मॉनसून मिशन क्लाइमेट फोरकास्ट सिस्टम पूर्वानुमान इंगित करता है कि नकारात्मक आईओडी यानी नेगेटिव इंडियन ओशन डाइपोल स्थितियां जून से शुरुआत में मानसून सीजन का शुरुआत में विकसित होने की संभावना है। चूंकि प्रशांत और हिंद महासागरों में समुद्र की सतह तापमान यानी सी सरफेस टेम्परेचर की स्थिति में परिवर्तन भारतीय जलवायु को प्रभावित करता है, इसलिए हम कंटिन्यूसली ये हिंद महासागर और प्रशांत महासागर में जो समुद्र की स्थिति है, सी सरफेस टेम्परेचर है, इसके ऊपर निगाह रखते हैं, इसको रिव्यू करते हैं और अकॉर्डिंगली हम पूर्वानुमान जारी करेंगे। अभी मैं थोड़ा एक्सटेंडेड रेंज का फोरकास्ट के बारे में बात करूं तो इससे पता चलता है कि आने वाले हफ्ता में माने 29 अप्रैल से 5 मई तक हम देखें तो नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडिया में थंडरस्टॉर्म एक्टिविटी जारी रहेगा, इसलिए एबव नॉर्मल रेनफॉल एक्टिविटी वहां होने का संभावना है। उत्तर पश्चिम में एक वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस अभी आने का संभावना है, जिसकी वजह से थोड़ी सी रेनफॉल हो सकता है। सेकेंड वीक में रेनफॉल नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न स्टेट्स में थोड़ा रिड्यूस होगा और बिलो नॉर्मल होने का संभावना है। और थर्ड वीक की बात करें फिर नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न स्टेट्स में बारिश बढ़ेगा और नॉर्मल एक्टिविटी पेनिनसुलर इंडिया में जारी रहेगा और नॉर्थ वेस्ट इंडिया में फिर वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस एक्टिव हो सकता है और कुछ बारिश हो सकता है। फिर वीक 4 में ऐसे ही एक वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस नॉर्थ ईस्ट में पास हो सकता है और यहाँ रेनफॉल नॉर्मल होने का संभावना है नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न स्टेट्स में, जबकि एक्टिविटी 4th वीक में यानी 20 मई टू 26 मई में एक्टिविटी बढ़ सकता है साउथ पेनिनसुलर इंडिया में, और यहाँ अंडमान निकोबार आइलैंड्स वगैरह में भी बारिश होने का संभावना है। अभी हम टेम्परेचर की बात करें नेक्स्ट 4 वीक्स का, सो मैक्सिमम टेम्परेचर देखें तो वीक वाइज देखें तो अभी जो वीक चल रहा है इस वीक में द टेम्परेचर स्पेशली इंडो गैंजेटिक प्लेन्स में एबव नॉर्मल रहने का पॉसिबिलिटी है, और एलॉन्ग कोस्टल स्टेट्स ईस्ट कोस्ट भी एबव नॉर्मल रहने का उम्मीद है। और इसमें थोड़ा रिडक्शन होगा जब हम वीक 1 से वीक 2 जाते हैं, और मेजर पार्ट्स ऑफ कंट्री जैसे आप देख रहे हैं इसमें टेम्परेचर बिलो नॉर्मल रहने का उम्मीद किया जा रहा है। 3rd वीक में भी ऐसी ही कंडीशन है, मेजर पार्ट्स में बिलो नॉर्मल टेम्परेचर होने का उम्मीद किया जा रहा है, और 4th वीक में स्लाइटली एबव नॉर्मल टेम्परेचर होने का सेंट्रल पार्ट में एक्सपेक्ट करा जाए, और ईस्टर्न स्टेट्स में फिर टेम्परेचर थोड़ा से नॉर्मल से ज्यादा होने का संभावना है। नाउ मिनिमम टेम्परेचर की बात करें, सो मिनिमम टेम्परेचर की स्थिति भी ऐसे ही है जैसे मैक्सिमम टेम्परेचर की। आप देखेंगे कि स्पेशली जो गैंजेटिक प्लेन्स है, इंडो गैंजेटिक प्लेन्स है, वहाँ एबव नॉर्मल टेम्परेचर रहने का संभावना है 1st वीक में, और 2nd वीक में थोड़ा कम होते हुए एरिया रिड्यूस हो रहा है सिर्फ गैंजेटिक प्लेन्स, इंडो गैंजेटिक प्लेन्स के ऊपर, और 3rd वीक में ये फर्दर रिड्यूस हो रहा है, सिर्फ यही एरिया में ज्यादा तक एबव नॉर्मल टेम्परेचर पहुंच सकता है। 4th वीक में फिर टेम्परेचर राइज हो रहा है। तो लगभग देखें तो मेजर एरिया में टेम्परेचर बिलो नॉर्मल जैसे यहाँ दिखाई दे रहा है, जो कि हमारा जो प्रोजेक्शन है सीजनल फोरकास्ट में, मंथली फोरकास्ट के लिए, इसके साथ ये कंफर्मेशन में है। नाउ फॉर नेक्स्ट 5 डेज का फोरकास्ट हम देखें, जो कि अभी हीट वेव, सीवियर हीट वेव कंडीशंस मेजर पार्ट्स ऑफ नॉर्थ ईस्ट सेंट्रल इंडिया में जारी है, ईस्ट इंडिया में। इसमें एक सुधार आने का हम अभी पूर्वानुमान कर रहे हैं। एक वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस 2 तारीख से इम्पैक्ट करेगा, और इसके प्रभाव में ऑलरेडी आज हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि आइसोलेटेड थंडरस्टॉर्म हो सकता है जम्मू एंड कश्मीर, पंजाब, हिमाचल प्रदेश में, पर धीरे धीरे इसका प्रभाव बढ़ेगा। सो देयरफॉर 1 तारीख तक जो नॉर्थ वेस्ट इंडिया में जो हीट वेव टू सीवियर हीट वेव कंडीशन चल रहा है, 1 तारीख तक इसका इंटेंसिटी जारी रहेगा, और 1 तारीख के बाद इसका इंटेंसिटी में रिडक्शन होगा, एरिया में भी रिडक्शन होगा। इसका वजह यही है कि जो वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस आ रहे हैं, इसके साथ साथ हम रेन और थंडरस्टॉर्म एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं, और टेम्परेचर एटलीस्ट रिडक्शन होगा। कभी कभी कहाँ डस्टर्म भी हो सकता है, और हेलस्टर्म का भी उम्मीद है। जब ईस्टर्न इंडिया और ईस्ट सेंट्रल इंडिया की बात करें, वहां हम आज से ही हम थंडरस्टॉर्म एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं। इसलिए आज सिर्फ हम कुछ एरिया में जैसे छत्तीसगढ़, नॉर्थ छत्तीसगढ़, उड़ीसा, झारखंड एंड सम पार्ट्स ऑफ वेस्ट बंगाल, इसमें हम हीट वेव एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं, मगर कल से ये सभी एरिया में हीट वेव एबेक्ट होने का और रिडक्शन होने का हमारा पूर्वानुमान है। इसका वजह यही है कि बे ऑफ बंगाल में एक एंटीसाइक्लोन के प्रभाव में ईस्टर्ली विंड्स प्रिवेल कर रहा है इस सभी एरिया के ऊपर, और इसके साथ साथ मॉइस्चर पंपिंग होगा और थंडरस्टॉर्म एक्टिविटी बढ़ने का उम्मीद किया जा रहा है। सो धीरे धीरे आप देखेंगे कि जब हम 30 से 4 मई तक जाते हैं, धीरे धीरे थंडरस्टॉर्म का जो हीट वेव का पूर्वानुमान है वो धीरे धीरे कम हो रहा है, मगर थंडरस्टॉर्म एक्टिविटी का पूर्वानुमान धीरे धीरे बढ़ रहा है। इसके साथ साथ मैं ये बोलना चाहता हूँ कि जो हेवी रेनफॉल एक्टिविटी नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न स्टेट्स में हो रहा है वो जारी रहेगा। आइसोलेटेड हेवी टू वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल एक्टिविटी नेक्स्ट 5 डेज में हम आसाम, मेघालय एंड नॉर्दर्न एरियाज में एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं। लास्ट पॉइंट बट मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंट पॉइंट आई जस्ट वांट टू मेंशन कि एक लो प्रेशर सिस्टम डेवलप होने का हमारा पूर्वानुमान है, जो 5 मई के आसपास साउथ अंडमान सी और एडजॉइनिंग साउथ ईस्ट बे ऑफ बंगाल में एक लो प्रेशर एरिया डेवलप हो सकता है। इसका पूर्वानुमान एक्सटर्नल फोरकास्ट जब थर्स्ट में इशू हुआ है इसका जारी किया गया था, और फिर यस्टरडे से हम हमारा जनरल बुलेटिन में जारी कर रहे हैं, और हम इसको कंटिन्यूअसली मॉनिटर कर रहे हैं। इसका फर्दर इंटेंसिफिकेशन कैसे होगा और किस तरफ ये मूव करेगा, इसके बारे में जानकारी दिया जाएगा जब लो प्रेशर एरिया फॉर्मेशन होगा। सो थैंक यू वेरी मच। नाउ यू कैन टेक द क्वेश्चंस।
सर मैं अनिरुद्ध बोल रहा हूँ।
बोलिए अनिरुद्ध जी।
सर ये जो आपने अभी बताया इसमें वेस्ट ऑफ बंगाल में, हम इसी को जानना चाह रहे थे। मई का महीना आमतौर पर समुद्री तूफानों के लिए जाना जाता है, तो क्या इस बार प्री मानसून के इस महीने में कुछ समुद्री तूफान देखने को मिलेंगे और उसका कुछ असर भारत पर कैसा रहेगा? हालांकि आपने अभी बताया कि अभी तो एक ही, और इसकी इंटेंसिटी के बाद में बताएंगे।
जी, आप मुझे क्लाइमेटोलॉजी का बारे में पूछे तो मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि इंडियन ओशन में दो सीजन होता है साइक्लोन डेवलपमेंट का। एक सीजन होता है मार्च अप्रैल मई और बिगनिंग ऑफ जून, दूसरा होता है अक्टूबर नवंबर दिसंबर। और ये दोनों सीजन को आप कंपेयर करें, अक्टूबर नवंबर दिसंबर सीजन में ज्यादा साइक्लोन डेवलप होता है और अप्रैल में मार्च अप्रैल में कम साइक्लोन डेवलप होता है। और बे ऑफ बंगाल में ज्यादा होता है, अरेबियन सी में कम होता है। और इफ मंथ वाइज देखें तो नवंबर महीना में ज्यादातर डेवलपमेंट होता है और मई महीना में ज्यादातर डेवलपमेंट होता है। और जो प्रोबेबिलिटी आप देखें, कोई भी लो प्रेशर एरिया डेवलप करें इन द मंथ ऑफ में, जो प्रोबेबिलिटी होता है इसका इंटेंसिफिकेशन का वो 60% 60-70% प्रोबेबिलिटी है। तो इसलिए क्लाइमेटोलॉजिकली मंथ ऑफ में सभी टाइम फेवरेबल रहता है कोई साइक्लोजेनेसिस के लिए। और हम अभी जितना सारे हमारा न्यूमेरिकल लोकेशन मॉडल्स है, जो ऑब्जर्वेशनल सिस्टम्स है, सभी को हम इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं, कंटिन्यूसली मॉनिटर कर रहे हैं। तो स्थिति जब होगा पता चलेगा 5 अप्रैल के आसपास।
सर एक दूसरा और कि इस बार तापमान बहुत ज्यादा, आप अभी बता भी रहे हैं कि नॉर्थ वेस्ट में और इन सब में, इन कुछ इलाकों में नंबर 1 पर रहा ये साल 2022 सेंट्रल में और नॉर्थ वेस्ट में। सर ऐसा कुछ डेटा बोल पाने में समर्थ हैं क्या कि हम लगभग कितने नए रिकॉर्ड बने या कितने रिकॉर्ड टूटे, ऐसा कोई नंबर में बोलें कि कितने भारत के शहर थे, 40 शहर जिनमें इस बार नया रिकॉर्ड बन गया, या 26 शहर 25 शहर ऐसे थे जिनमें पुराने रिकॉर्ड टूट गए वगैरह वगैरह, इस तरह का कुछ भी अगर आप बता सकते हैं, कुछ बोल सकते हैं
जी।
मतलब
धन्यवाद अनुरुद्ध जी। हम हर दिन जो टेम्परेचर रिकॉर्ड होता है इसको हम 200 स्टेशन पे हमारा लॉन्ग टर्म रिकॉर्ड्स है इसके साथ हम कंपेयर करते हैं और इसका स्टैटिस्टिक्स उपलब्ध होता है। और इसको हम बताते रहते हैं जो मीडिया ग्रुप फॉर्मेशन हुआ है। इसके साथ साथ हमारा जो क्लाइमेट रिसर्च एंड सर्विसेज डिवीजन पुनाम है, उसमें वेबसाइट में भी टेम्परेचर का आंकड़ा उपलब्ध होता है। सो हम कोशिश करेंगे जो आपने सुझाव दिया कि ये अप्रैल महीना में कौन सा स्टेशन हाईएस्ट टेम्परेचर तोड़ा है, रिकॉर्ड को तोड़ा है और नया रिकॉर्ड क्रिएट किया है। एक मिनट, डॉक्टर Srijit, please do the needful to provide information in 1 or 2 days.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Which stations have broken the earlier records?
Yeah, we will in the press release we are planning in the coming week we will include that. Thank you, sir.
That is better. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow we should do it.
Yes.
फिर
Mr.
आपसे
Mahapatra,
संपर्क
this
करके
is
निकलेंगे।
Aditi Tandon. Can I come in?
One by one. Aditi madam, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Mahapatra, I had 3 very specific questions. I come from the Tribune newspaper, and you know that agriculture is the mainstay of Punjab, Haryana, and the majority of Northwest region. What, according to you, will be the impact of this heat wave on the agriculture sector? Secondly, are you expecting a long dry summer spell this season, and its specific impact on agriculture according to you?
Yeah. If you look at the forecast and actual observation so far, you find actually in Northwest India, plains of Northwest India, which includes Punjab, Haryana, West UP, and adjoining North Rajasthan, etc. So their temperature has been quite high, above normal in the month of March, month of April. And as for forecast also, we are expecting that the temperature will be higher than normal. And that is also supported by our extended range forecast, which is showed. And we said that for next 2 weeks, our extended forecast is very good up to 2 weeks. I will not go beyond 2 weeks. It also suggests that this area will have higher than normal temperature. So therefore, certainly, it will have the impact on various sectors. As far as agriculture is concerned, yes, it will have the impact because the vegetational growth, harvest, yield, everything depends upon the various weather parameters, including the temperature. So detailed impact can be found out in our Agromet Advisory Services Bulletin, being issued every Tuesday and Friday, district-wise.
Sir, Shabnam Kotli, News 7 Ro.
Yeah, I'll just
Yes,
take the second
question.
just I'll take next question. The second point what you wanted about the longer duration, yes, certainly it has been high durable heat wave spell and the longer temperature spell. And again for next 2 weeks also we are expecting that there may be limited abatement, okay, because of this particular western disturbance which we are expecting in the 2nd of May. So there will be reduction, but again there could be. But in general, what we find that the West Rajasthan and adjoining areas, their temperature may remain above normal for the month of May. But remaining areas, we are expecting some rainfall activity in the month of May, and temperature may go down for that purpose. So therefore, it is always better to take all precautionary measures with respect to the agriculture, livestock, animal health, human health, and even the transport sectors, power and aviation, the surface transport, etc. So for this purpose, what we are doing actually, every day we are issuing the impact-based forecast of heat waves. So that discusses about the expected impacts. So I'll request all of you, please go through that. You can also suggest us what more we can add or what we can review. That impact-based forecast is being provided as decided jointly by the National Disaster Management Authority, state government, and IMD. So there is scope further to improve. This is a new beginning. For the last 2 years, we're issuing this impact-based forecast specifically for district-wise and the cities also. So we need your inputs also and suggestions.
Right, Dr.
Okay, I'll go one by one. Sarnam, please.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. Shabnam News 7 रो आपनको ओडिया रे क्वेश्चन नेबा को चाहिए वर्तमान आपण जो फोरकास्ट करिवे ओडिसा पई कोन फोरकास्ट करिवे प्रथम क्वेश्चन ग्रीष्म प्रभाव किभଳି भाबे रहइबो एवं द्वितीय रे जो लो प्रेशर बा घुर्ली बलय सृष्टि होची बोली कहउचंती ता ओडिसा ऊपर कोन इंपैक्ट पकेइबो किछि तार इंपैक्ट रहिबो की
First point is that we are expecting decrease in temperature. ओडिया रे कहबे कि आमे आशा करूछु जे थंडरस्टॉर्म एक्टिविटी बढ़िबार संभावना रही छै तेणु टेम्परेचर जहाँ आम देखुंट से रिडक्शन हम एवं काल बैशाखी भली थंडरस्टॉर्म कोटी कोटी पवन अधिक हो पारे से भली देखा मिल जब आम लंग रेंज मंथ ऑफ मे आम आशा करूँ जो टेम्परेचर आम एप्रिल देखिले ताठू टेम्परेचर टे कम हो पारे कारण समय समय ये थंडरस्टॉर्म एक्टिविटी हो पारे या सहित जो लो प्रेशर सिस्टम डेभलप हम बोली आशा करूँ 5th मे लो प्रेशर सिस्टम से कौड़ को जीव तार इंपैक्ट केते कौन पड़ो तार पूर्वानुमान करा जिवो जेतेबेले लो प्रेशर सिस्टम्स डेवलप हबो अराउंड 5th में तार फोरकास्ट दिया जिवो
राइट म पात्र सर
सूचना सर आ गोटे क्वेश्चन गोटे सूचना या आसुची जे 7 रु 10 तारिख भितरे अने गोटे घूर्णिबलय बा लघुचाप ओडिसा ऊपर को भी आसुची यार सत्यासत्य केते रहिछि ता ऊपर कोन कहबो
अरे जहां मु कहली 5 तारिख रे फॉर्मेशन हवा परे आमे कहिबो या कुआडे जिवो केउ राज्य ऊपर प्रभाव पड़िबो कौन कि प्रभाव पड़ो बर्तमान आम से कौन किसी तथ्य दौना आम कंटिन्यूअसली मॉनिटर करूँ जिते कौन साइक्लोन सर्कुलेशन डेवलप हम लो प्रेशर रूप नेब से जना पड़ो जे प्रकृति में क्यों को गति कर
Mohapatra sir, Divya this side.
Yes, please. Yes. Divya, please.
Mohapatra sir,
Yeah, Divya, please. Yeah.
I would like to ask you, will the temperature touch 50 degrees this time around in some parts of the north? Some reports are suggesting it could. So,
if you go by climatology, climatology says that temperature can cross 50 degrees Celsius. And there has been record earlier of 52.6 degrees Celsius in Rajasthan. So therefore, it is very easy because month of May is the hottest month. Therefore, you can expect, but I cannot say such type of forecast. But climatologically, I would say it is possible. And we are expecting increase above normal temperature for western parts of Rajasthan, which is a hot area. But remaining parts, major parts of central India and northeast India, if we just look at, they are telling that there will be rainfall activity.
sir, as far as the monsoon forecast is concerned,
Specifically, if you ask me 50 degrees Celsius, yeah, I can rule out. There can be some sessions sometimes.
sir, when we talk about the monsoon, you are expecting it to be normal this time around. Will it be on time?
Yeah, the monsoon we predicted that it will be normal and 99% plus minus 5%. That is the forecast issued. And the second stage of forecast will be issued about the activity by 31st of May. Prior to that, about the onset of monsoon, we will issue the forecast on 15 April, around 15 May, we will issue the onset forecast.
So, sir, when you say that March had broken a record of 122 years, when we talk about April, what kind of record has it broken?
So that I told, if you consider April, the data is available up to 28th of April now.
Yeah.
From the data available on 28th April, it is the 4th highest. Country average temperature is the 4th highest.
Right.
And if I consider the homogeneous regions like Northwest India, Central India, Northeast India, and Peninsular India, Northwest India and Central India are the highest in 120 years.
Now,
Peninsular India and Northeast India, they are not highest, they are quite less because of the rainfall activity.
right. So when you're talking about me and you're saying the temperatures will be hotter than usual in some parts of the country, and you're also talking about rainfall being below normal in some parts of the country. So can we expect May to be hotter because the only relief that you get is in the form of rain? That is what the abatement of heat wave conditions are only brought about through rain. So this time around, are we expecting it to have more heat wave conditions? And like you said, April has not broken the records as far as the number of heat waves are concerned.
Yeah, there are two questions in you have put up. One is that whether May will be as hot as it has been in April and March. If I compare with the normal temperature and the forecast, whatever is assured today, that indicates that major part will have the below normal temperatures. Maximum temperature look at major part, except the Northwest India and adjoining West Central India, where temperature will be above normal, especially Gujarat, Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand. These are the areas where temperature will be above normal. Without that, the major part of the country will have the below normal and normal temperatures. Therefore, if you calculate country as a whole, certainly the temperature will be below normal or near normal. It cannot be above normal as it has happened in the month of March and April. So that is one kind of consolation to us. And but if you consider the mean temperature, it may come again normal because minimum temperature is showing little higher than normal temperature. As far as rainfall is concerned, if you just look at major part of the country, as I have shown today, is showing the probability of higher than normal rainfall activity. And that will also limit the rise in temperature. Therefore, I am not expecting, or we are not expecting that May will be thick-tinted with the number of heat wave days and severe heat wave days. And whatever heat wave days, severe heat wave days we will get, that may be to Northwest India, especially.
Right. So you're saying that the heat wave days might not be as many as we've seen in April.
That's right. That's what I'm telling. And one more thing I will tell you. Yeah, if you consider the statistics, you are telling little different. The month of March has the highest number of heat wave days.
How many, sir? How many in the month of March?
It is not exactly the number of days in the country. It is the number of days vis-a-vis number of middle subdivisions that you have calculated is about 99. It is kind of like that. Okay.
Right. And so when you talk about April, the number of heat wave days are those less.
Listen to me. Please listen to me. Let me complete.
Right.
Of April, it has been the highest. Okay. So it is not the highest. In the month of March, it was the highest. In the month of April, it is not the highest. In 2010, it was the highest.
Sir, this is Pratibha from Jansatta newspaper. Sir, you said the WD was this time WD were dry. Mostly of them were dry. So what was the reason? Is it the temperature or some decrease in the snowfall over the European area? Or what is the significant reason?
So it is okay, fine. It is little technical, but I will try to explain to you. The western disturbance is not a tropical system. It is an extratropical weather system. And the extratropical weather systems gets its energy or gets its force from the horizontal temperature gradient. That means temperature gradient between north and south. Okay, for example, between Moscow and Delhi. For example, I told in that area. So if this temperature gradient becomes high, that means you have got cooler there and there, then the western disturbance gets more effective and it gets more rainfall, snowfall, etc. But if you do not have such high temperature gradient, it's a weak temperature gradient, then western disturbance does not become very active and not very intense. And this year, the same thing happened. You have the weak temperature gradient in the extratropical region. So therefore, even though we had 6 western disturbances in the month of April, out of that 6, only 1 was very active to cause some kind of rainstorm, hailstorm, thunderstorms in Northwest India, and others are very feeble. They just passed across Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, and did not have any impact for the plains of Northwest India.
The other question is, will the higher temperature will support the good monsoon, or it is going to be dry?
let us see. This has been higher temperature in the month of March and April. But in the month of May, we are expecting the almost normal if the country as a whole. But Northwest India, of course, will have higher than normal temperatures. So if you simply talk about that monsoon is a large sea breeze or giant sea breeze, that means it depends upon the warming of land surface, so that the higher temperature gradient between the land and ocean leads to the stronger monsoon flow. But this is not limited only to the regional factors. There are other factors, global factors, which influence the monsoon activity. So therefore, number one is that it does not depend upon the temperature for a specific month, maybe March, April, or May in the region. Number two is that it depends upon many large-scale features. Monsoon is a global circulation. Many large-scale features like La Nina, IOD, northern hemisphere temperature, Eurasian snow cover, and temperature in the Atlantic, so many. All these things are taken into consideration in our statistical models as well as the dynamical models. So therefore, once you have got the multiple ensemble forecasting scheme, it takes into consideration all the aspects. It does not take into consideration only one aspect. So therefore, I cannot or I will not commit anything that the temperatures will have any influence directly or indirectly. That is not to be correct to be spoken.
Sir, Jacob from Hindu.
Yes, Mr. Jacobji.
So I just wanted to clarify. So these heat waves that we have been registering for March and April, is there some connection to the prevailing La Nina conditions? And is there some connection between these two things? And just wanted to clarify, the heat waves will May also see as many heat waves or more in April? I mean, compared to April in North and Northwest India.
Yeah. So thank you. So I'll go for the first question, La Nina vis-a-vis the heat wave conditions. If you look at the climatological relationship, in the years of La Nina, we do not get much heat wave conditions, and also the severity of heat wave conditions are less. In the El Nino years, the frequency of heat wave conditions and severity is high. So therefore, considering this year, La Nina was not a factor for this increased frequency of the heat wave days and its severity in Northwest India and Central India. There could be the other factors, as I told you, that was the weak zonal index, or you can say that weak temperature gradient, which restricted the impact of western disturbances over Northwest India. And hence there was a highly deficient rainfall activity continuously in March and April, and hence it allowed the temperature to rise. In addition to that, there was a high pressure cell in the middle troposphere extending from 300 kilometers to 600 kilometers. And that was almost a semi-permanent feature because it could not be broken with the passage of western disturbances. Therefore, it continued as a semi-permanent feature with the major center over South Pakistan, Gujarat, and Rajasthan and adjoining areas. As a result, when there is a high pressure cell, just imagine like a tightening of a screw. If you want to tighten the screw, you have to rotate the screw clockwise. If the screw rotates clockwise, the screw goes down. Similarly, here, if you have got an anticyclone circulation at a height of 3 to 5 kilometers or 6 kilometers, that wind is rotating clockwise, that wind goes down. When the wind goes down, it gets compressed and gets warm. And therefore, when it reaches the surface, it is warmer. And once that occurred in the month of March, it also happened in the month of April, every spell started over the western parts like South Rajasthan, Gujarat, and adjoining Madhya Pradesh, and South Pakistan. And from that, what happened actually, this anticyclone circulation that happened, and it percolated towards the east and also percolated towards the northwest with the prevailing wind circulations. So the basic phenomena which is associated with heat wave conditions, that was prevailing and that occurred, and the La Nina condition could not prevent it. At the same time, the western disturbances were not occurring. Even if it is occurring, they were not active because of the weak temperature gradient in the extratropical atmosphere. So
heat waves in
regarding the forecast, yes, I want to tell that heat wave conditions, whatever has happened in March and April, that has been quite high in number, quite intense. But in the month of May, we are not expecting that type of intense heat wave conditions because we are expecting rainfall activity over most parts of the country, especially we are expecting rainfall activity over West Central India and Northern Peninsula, etc. Only area where the rainfall is not expected, that is in the Northwest India, especially Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and Ladakh, and you have got
Does this mean that
Punjab
heat waves
and
will
West
continue
Rajasthan.
there?
So
in
in
the
these
northwest?
areas, so that's what I'm telling. In these areas, if you look at the forecast temperature, we also predicted that above normal temperatures. So therefore, there could be the heat wave conditions or severe heat wave conditions in some parts of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Haryana, and Punjab in the month of May.
Sir, this is Archana
कुल
from
मिला के
Bloomberg.
अगर हम बात
Can I
करें
just seek one small clarification? So, how unusual is it for La
अभी
Nina conditions to
इसमें कोई
be
राहत नहीं
undermined?
मिलने वाली है नॉर्थ और नॉर्थ वेस्ट
Sir?
इंडिया को
देखिए, I am not
Mr.
talking about
Dr.
North India. I am talking about Northwest India. I am talking about specifically Gujarat, Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh area. This area में temperature above normal रहेगा. Especially Gujarat, Rajasthan, इस area में temperature above normal रहने का probability ज़्यादा है. And hence we can expect heat wave conditions in this area.
Dr. Mohapatra, could you please clarify how unusual is it for La Nina conditions to be undermined by, how often has it happened in the last few years that in
Yes,
spite
yes,
of La
it
Nina,
occurs. It occurs. La Nina is one of the parameter. It is not the only parameter to determine whether it is rainfall or whether it is temperature.
thanks, sir.
This is Anjali from the Indian Express.
I
Pune.
think Kunalji was speaking something.
Sir, as I know, the highest temperature in the May, it was in 1944, and it was 47.2. So, are we expecting the same kind of rise, or maybe below that, or what were your assessments, sir?
Which area you are talking of?
Sir, country as a whole.
No, I told country as a
No,
whole. There
no,
are
no,
number of
sorry,
perspectives.
sir. It was for Delhi. It was for Delhi.
Delhi actually 48 degree we have on June 10, 2019. Okay, Safdarjung.
Okay.
Yeah, 48. Yeah, so there it's a record actually. Okay.
Okay.
So am I audible? I'm Anjali from the Indian Express Pune.
Yes, Madam Anjali.
Yes, I have a question about generally we hear Churu or places in Rajasthan recording very high temperatures, but in this season we have seen places in Maharashtra like Vidarbha or places in East UP also showing such high temperatures. So are there more areas coming up wherein 45 or 47 degrees is going to be a normal, or going to see more such high temperature areas in this summer or in coming years, unlike only limited to Rajasthan? Thank you.
See, there are certain stations where normal temperature itself 44 degree, 45 degrees Celsius in Northwest India, in some parts of Central India also. So therefore, we should not be surprised to get 44 degrees Celsius or 45 degrees Celsius. It is a normal temperature sometimes in the month of May. You can get in certain areas. Yeah, as you told, yes, Churu, etc. Usually they are the hottest places in Rajasthan. But there are also certain pocketed areas where you can find out the temperature rises. For example, in certain areas in Bidar, certain areas in other parts of UP, etc. So that information, whether it will exceed there in month of May or not, it is not possible to predict. We are not going to predict location-specific information about temperature exceeding 44 degree or 45 degree. That type of information is being provided on daily basis. But for next 7 days, we are giving the actual information what is the expected temperature. Please go through that we can say. But from here, we should have the estimate that whether temperature is likely to be above normal. If it is above normal, what is the probability? And actually, if it is a high probability, certainly there is a probability of occurrence of heat waves.
I have a question, Rekha Dixit.
Yes, please, Rekha ji. Yes.
Yes, in Delhi, we've been seeing certain pockets like the Commonwealth Games Village having higher temperatures than the other parts of the city. You did mention something called urban heat islands the other day in the group. So I wanted to ask you two questions. You said you should not compare a 46 degree in an open rural area recording there with a 46 degree with a similar temperature. Could you elaborate on that? You mentioned it during one of our group conversations a few days ago.
Fine. So I just want to mention about the urban heat island effect. As the name suggests, the urban area acts like an island. That means its characteristics gets completely different from the surrounding areas. If I consider the temperature, in certain pockets in the urban city, you'll find the temperature is quite high compared to the outer surroundings. Why is it so? When you consider an urban area, we've got the complete structures, and hence the reflectivity of the surface is different, or you can say albedo is different. At the same time, you have got many buildings, etc. The forest cover, or you can say vegetation cover, is less, and as a result, the radiations emitted from the surface of the earth in the urban area is quite high. So when I go to different parts of an urban area, for example, Delhi, and let's say there will be different parts where the population density is quite high, urban infrastructure is quite high, concrete structures are quite high, industries may be quite high, therefore the gases emerging out of the industry also can lead to rising temperatures. So by that way, the temperature does not remain uniform in a city. Within city itself, you will find, if you go to, say for example, Lodi Gardens, temperature will be different. If you go to say Connaught Place, temperature will be different. Certainly Lodi Garden will have lower temperature, and Connaught Place will have the higher temperatures. So this type of phenomena, which is occurring basically because of the urbanization, or because of the construction of the structures and reduction in vegetation, leads to localized increase in temperature, creating such type of heat islands. Therefore, it is called as urban heat islands. So therefore, if you compare the temperature of a specific spot in an urban area with the rural area, it will not be justified, because rural area is a uniform area. So therefore, we should compare the temperature in a homogeneous region to find out whether it is really changing or not. So whether I cleared your questions? Okay, fine. So urban heat island effect has many other impacts. For example, the urban heat island effect leads to this rise in temperature over the city area, central part of the city. Also, urban heat island effect gives rise to the frictional convergence of wind. Say, for example, you have got the winds of, for example, 20 kilometers per hour prevailing in an open area. When that winds enter into that urban area, it gets opposed by the urban structures, the physical structures like buildings, etc. And hence, there is a localized convergence of wind, and that wind cannot go down, it goes up. And as a result, urban area also leads to the convective activity, cloud formation, hence rainfall. The urban heat island effect leads to the increase in rainfall activity. Urban areas get more rainfall as compared to rural areas. And that is another point with respect to urban flooding. Yes, please. Some of our friends, someone was asking questions.
Sir,
Sir,
sir, forecast, how much forecast was accurate? How was accuracy percentage?
If I compare, I have compared you. I have not calculated the skill, but I have compared both the maps. What is the forecast map? What is the actual map? If I say forecast was quite accurate for entire part of the India, except northeastern states. Northeastern states forecast of temperature was not accurate. Otherwise, remaining parts of forecast of temperature or rainfall was quite accurate for the month of April.
And how many WD we are expecting in month of May, sir?
WD usually occurs frequently in the month of winters, like say December, January, February. Gradually, the number decreases as you move towards summer and the monsoon season. So that type of forecast is not there, how many WD will occur in the month of monsoon. But in terms of rainfall, we are given some forecast. The forecast shows that good rainfall activity in other parts of the country, but in northeastern states does not show much activity. That means, again, perhaps the number of WDs will be less than normal.
Thank you,
Dr.
sir.
Mahapatra? Amit Bhattacharya? No, this is just a supplementary question to what Rekha asked. You talked about urban heat island. Is IMD coming up with or thinking of coming up with a measure that would tell us what effect precisely, the heat island effect is happening on temperatures in a particular region, so that in a particular station, so that we know that, this much rise is due to the heat island effect. That would also help us in urban planning, etc., in the future, because heat island effect is going to stay with us.
Yeah. I should thank you, Amit, because I could not reply to Rekhaji while responding. I should have mentioned this one. Yeah, you will be happy. You might have known that, all of you might have known that we have come up with enhanced urban meteorological services. Especially for Delhi, we have come up with wave GIS services, where every hour we are putting up the temperature forecast. And you can find out temperature forecast, temperature distribution over the Delhi city and adjoining areas. That brings out the area where temperature is expected more, where temperature is expected less. And also we are putting up about 13 stations temperatures and rainfall and other parameters, winds, etc. So this has been implemented for Delhi city, and we are going to implement it for all the major cities in the country. Target is about 50 cities in next 1 year will complete this urban distribution, urban forecast of various weather parameters. Along with that, as you told that which are the structures, which are the socioeconomic parameters are getting affected because of this urban heat island or rising temperature or rainfall or anything else, what we are doing actually, we are collecting the socioeconomic attributes data. So for example, I told, say, power sector data, the transport sector data, population density, housings, etc., and say open facilities like the parks and schools, hospitals, etc. All these data we are trying to put up in a GIS platform so that and the people can recognize the rising temperature vis-a-vis the sectors which are likely to be affected within the city itself.
So if we look at the temperatures over a period of time in different stations of the city, we would know which stations would have been registering higher temperature and by how much. That measure of the heat island effect would really help, because then we would know that, okay, say 0.7 degree higher temperatures in this particular station is due to this much heat island effect. Quantifying the heat island effect, is it at all possible scientifically, and is it being thought of?
Yes, it is possible. It has been done earlier also by IMD for certain cities. And now also we are doing that. Once we get a little longer period of data, whatever wave GIS data we are preparing, we will go for the past data and we will do this exercise. It is certainly, it will be done, and we will find out the urban climatology in that sense, urban heat island climatology for different cities. At least for Delhi, we will begin with, then we will extend it to other cities. Thank you very much for suggestions.
Sir, I just wanted to
an
clarify.
aside.
I just want to
Just a
clarify one thing.
second,
Did you say that in northwest India, the temperature was 120? It's a 122-year record in April, or was it just since 1973 was the last temperature record?
Dr. Srijit, do you want to respond?
No, so you just mentioned 122, so I was just a little confused.
I am requesting my colleague, Dr. Srijit, to respond.
Yes, all these ranges calculated since 1901.
Okay, so then Northwest India, the temperature in April was at 100.
Central is the highest.
In
And
122
All
years,
India
right?
rank is fourth highest.
Okay, thank you.
So is it the highest in 122 years in only March, or was it highest in 122 years in April also?
I think मार्च जो मार्च का तापमान है वो 122 ईयर हाईएस्ट है ऑल इंडिया नॉर्थ वेस्ट इंडिया आल्सो बट अप्रैल इट इज ओनली नॉर्थ वेस्ट एंड सेंट्रल इंडिया ऑल इंडिया इज द फोर्थ रैंक so where is the confusion? It is very clear actually. We are repeating, and I have shared also in the group the table.
So this month is also highest in 122 years.
Again for northwest India only, and also central India.
Yeah, northwest, for the northwest 122 years.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sir, a side question: do we have similar localized pockets of cold also, or is it only urban heat islands?
Yeah, Delhi temperature, if you see, the Mayur Vihar pockets is very cold actually among all the 14 stations. So that's what there are colder pockets also.
See, when I consider the urban heat island, name itself suggests that the temperature rises. Because of the urban heat island impact, temperature rises in certain pockets. The temperature does not fall anywhere because of the urban heat island impact. Okay. But because of this rise in temperature in certain pockets of a particular city, there will be difference. So, for example, as Anomaly told, certain areas will have the lower minimum temperature. In certain areas will have the higher minimum temperatures. But urban heat island effect, if you look at its impact in terms of maximum temperature, in terms of minimum temperature, urban heat island effect is maximum on minimum temperature.
Sir, Shyam Nandan for the print. As you mentioned, the Mayur Vihar region has recorded the lowest temperature in Delhi, and also it was mentioned that around 43 degrees, and the Commonwealth Games village area has recorded the highest temperature.
No, don't be misinterpret. Don't misinterpret. I think he took the name of Mayur Vihar out of the way to discuss about the minimum temperature in winter. He is not talking about the maximum temperature now.
Okay.
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 So when we are telling the April is hottest in the 120 years, what was the earlier temperature and what is the this time mean temperature for Northwest?
Everything I have shown, the PPT will be shared. Just when I complete this one, I will send the PPT. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So all informations are there. Past 5 extremes are put up in this PPT. It will be shared to all of you.
सर नमस्कार
नमस्ते
सर नमस्कार मुकेश कौतुरी ओडिशा रू प्रमेय भुवनेश्वर रू
आप इंग्लिश बोलो ना बस ठीक है बोलो
हेलो
प्लीज टेल
हाँ सर मई का प्रेडिक्शन ओडिशा के लिए क्या है पर्टिकुलरली फॉर ओडिशा
So we are expecting below normal or normal temperature over Odisha. That is maximum temperature.
अच्छा
Minimum temperature will be above normal. And if you consider rainfall, we are expecting normal or above normal rainfall over Odisha in the month of May. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. So I just have one small question. We have had a record-breaking heat season. Is the IMD now concerned about an increasing frequency of thunderstorms also in May, because that is the most common season for it, and now we are having higher temperatures too?
As for the forecast issued today, we are expecting probability of higher than normal rainfall activity over major parts of the country. In the month of May, it is possible only if there will be thunderstorms. And hence you can expect thunderstorms in the month of May.
Right, thank you.
Okay, anything else? Rekha ji, again, you have raised the hand. You have anything else or will?
Excuse me.
Yes, please.
Sir, this is Abhiyu here. I just had a question to ask. Am I allowed to?
Sure, we are sitting here for that. Yeah.
सर हम लोग आज के टाइम में जो भी टेम्परेचर बढ़ जाता है उसका रीजन देते हैं इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन और ग्लोबल वार्मिंग एंड वी कंपेयर इट विथ पास्ट से 50 years 100 years. बट सर 50-100 years पहले ऐसा क्या हुआ था कि उस वक्त में ऐसा टेम्परेचर हो गया था? उस वक्त तो इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन या ग्लोबल वार्मिंग कुछ भी नहीं था.
So there are two reasons for rise or fall in temperature. मैं हिंदी में बोलूँ तो टेम्परेचर वेरिएशन जो दिखाई देता है वो दो रीजन होता है इसका. एक होता है नेचुरल प्रोसेस, नेचुरल वेरिएशंस. दूसरा होता है मैन मेड प्रोसेसेस और एंथ्रोपोजेनिक प्रोसेसेस. नेचुरल प्रोसेस यही है कि सन का एक्टिविटी, और सन और अर्थ का रिलेशनशिप, सन की चारों तरफ अर्थ कैसे घूम रहा है। जैसे हम जानते हैं कि एलिप्टिकल ऑर्बिट में घूमता है सन की चारों तरफ अर्थ, और ये एलिप्टिकल ऑर्बिट कांस्टेंट नहीं रहता है, ये चेंज होता रहता है। जो एंगल ऑफ इंक्लिनेशन होता है अर्थ का सन के साथ, वो भी हर टाइम चेंज होता है, सेम नहीं रहता है। मगर ये जो चेंजेस वगैरह होता है, मिलन कोविक एक साइंटिस्ट थे, वो निकाले थे, इसको मिलन कोविक थ्योरी बोला जाता है। ये डिपेंड करता है ऑर्बिट के ऊपर, अर्थ का ऑर्बिट सन चारों तरफ, एंगल ऑफ इंक्लिनेशन ऑर्बिट का। तीसरा होता है कि प्रिसिशन, जो रोटेशनल मोशन होता है इसका प्रिसिशन भी चेंजेस होता रहता है। अकॉर्डिंगली ये साइकिल है 100,000 ईयर्स, 40,000 ईयर्स, 10 to 20,000 ईयर्स, जैसे डिफरेंट साइकिल में टेम्परेचर चेंज होता है। इसको ग्लाशियल साइकिल बोला जाता है। And a glacial cycle means there will be increase in snow cover and hence temperature will down. और the interglacial period होता है जिससे फिर टेम्परेचर राइज हो जाता है। ये मगर स्लो प्रोसेस है। मगर जब इंडस्ट्री आया 1850 के बाद, तब दिखाई दिया कि नेचुरल प्रोसेस में जैसे वेरिएशन हो रहा है, इसके साथ साथ अभी जो मैन मेड एक्टिविटी हो रहा है, इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन हो रहा है, इसकी वजह से टेम्परेचर एनहांस्ड प्रोसेस में, माने एक्सेलरेटेड वे में राइज हो रहा है। इसको साइंटिस्ट ने स्टडी करके दिखाया कि इट कैन बी एट्रीब्यूटेड टू मैन मेड एक्टिविटीज और एंथ्रोपोजेनिक एक्टिविटीज। Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
सर एक सवाल इसी से जुड़ा हुआ है कि जो दुनिया भर में वेपन्स का यूज हो रहा है, युद्ध चल रहे हैं और जगह जगह जंगलों में आग लग रही है, इसका भी एटमॉस्फेरिक टेम्परेचर में कंट्रीब्यूशन?
एटमॉस्फेरिक सिस्टम में फीडबैक होता है। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आपने बताया कि ये सभी लोकलाइज्ड फेनोमेना होता है, और लोकलाइज्ड वे में ये सभी इम्पैक्ट होता है। जो लार्ज स्केल इम्पैक्ट हम देखते हैं, लार्ज स्केल इम्पैक्ट में लार्ज स्केल प्रोसेसेस का रोल रहता है।
ओके
Okay, I think it's fine. There are a lot of questions and interactions. I feel we are all grateful to you for your cooperation and for your service to the country. Actually, through you only, we are reaching out to the general public. And the success story has been this year. Even if we have got quite a good number of heat waves, severe heat waves, the number of deaths has been quite less. It is possible because of your contribution, because of the active participation of all the stakeholders like state government, central government, press and electronic media, and ongoing agency like us. I hope we will work together and we will work towards minimizing loss of lives and properties due to such disasters. So thank you very much.
सर एक क्वेश्चन, लास्ट क्वेश्चन सर प्लीज। सर आप जब कैलकुलेट करते हो हीट वेव की वजह से डेथ, सो हाउ यू कैलकुलेट द डेथ्स ड्यू टू द climate condition, or how you compile that?
It is a very tricky question. IMD does not deal with calculation of death.
Yeah.
Okay? It is being done by National Crime Bureau, and they are reporting, and the basic data is coming out from the hospitals. And sometimes it becomes very difficult also by the hospital authorities to identify whether it's because of the heat wave or because of the heart attack or because of some other things.
Okay.
However, people are trying. There was no such data collection earlier, but under the heat action plan now, such data are being collected from hospitals and from different police stations, and it's going there, and system is improving, and that is the basis what we can believe at present.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So thank you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.